I'm sitting on the couch, clutching a mug of cold coffee, and I can feel it shaking in my hands. In the next room, my 3-year-old son, Jacob, is playing with a wooden train, humming something unintelligible but so happy that my heart sinks. My husband, Tom, went to work, or so he said, sneaking out of the house in the morning without looking me in the eye. Our house, which used to be full of laughter, the smell of vanilla cookies and warm evenings, now feels like a cage. Every sound, the clatter of Jacob's dice, the creak of the door, the vibration of the phone, hits me like a hammer on glass. I know that my family is crumbling, and I know who started this fire. My older sister, Melissa, with her perfect smile, flawless makeup, and charisma that everyone loved, is not just a part of my life. She's the poison that drips from fake love. Melissa and I have always been compared. She was a star, gold medals at school, starring roles in theater productions, a voice that made everyone shut up and listen. Mom used to say, "Look how perfect Melissa is." I was different, quiet, with books under my pillow, with dreams that didn't scream but whispered. I didn't shine, but I was comfortable, invisible like a shadow. Melissa helped me with my lessons, shared my lipstick, and comforted me when my first boyfriend left me for someone else. "You're the best," she whispered, hugging me, and I believed. I believed when she came to college to celebrate my engagement to Tom. I believed when she held my hand after Jacob's difficult birth, when I was afraid I wouldn't be able to cope. But now that faith is cracking like ice under my feet, because Melissa did something worse than betrayal. She started a rumor that corrodes everything I built. It all started when Melissa came back into my life. Her marriage to what I mentally call the office alpha clown fell apart 2 years later. They tried to conceive a child, but nothing came of it, and Melissa, with her perfect facade, began to crack at the seams. She returned to our lives, began to appear more often in our house, as if she wanted to fill the void. It was cute at first. She brought Jacob toys, stuffed dinosaurs, cars, joked with Tom, calling him Super Daddy, cooked desserts, filling the kitchen with the smell of vanilla. I thought she just wanted to be closer, wanted to be a family. But then I noticed how her smile became as sharp as a knife, and her questions were too precise, too personal. "Jacob is so cute," she said, looking at him as he built a tower of cubes. "But does he even look like Tom?" I waved it off, thinking it was a joke. Melissa always jokes like that, I thought. But the words settled in me like sand in a wound, and I couldn't shake them out. The rumor started with TikTok. My friend Sarah sent me a link to an anonymous clip, and I felt the blood drain from my face. A hand was holding a childhood photo of Jacob, his round cheeks, dark curls, and a smile that made my heart melt, next to a photo of Chris, my college ex. The caption read, "Sometimes DNA speaks louder than an engagement ring." I sat staring at the screen until my fingers began to tremble. The comments under the video were like knives. "Shock. She's a blogger, but is she hiding it? The child doesn't look like a husband at all." I flipped through them, feeling rage and shame fighting inside me. Who did this? Who dared to take a photo of my son and expose him to the crowd? The reply came a couple of days later when Sarah wrote again. "Ashley, I'm sorry to say this, but your sister was chatting with the girls at brunch. She said that Jacob wasn't from Tom. Literally. Well, look at him. He doesn't look like Tom at all." I think Ashley wasn't completely honest. I couldn't breathe. Melissa, my sister, the one who held my hand when I cried after breaking up with Chris, the one who sang lullabies to Jacob when he was a baby. She took my life, my family, my son, and turned them into gossip, into a poisonous whisper that spread like mold. I was sitting in the kitchen, looking at an empty mug and thinking, why? What did I do to her? But deep down I knew the answer. Melissa was always the first in school, the first in the eyes of her mother, the first in any room. And then I married Tom, gave birth to Jacob, and suddenly I became the one being watched. And she couldn't stand it. The rumors grew like weeds. In the parent chat of the kindergarten where I was that blogger, someone posted a screenshot. There are rumors that her child is not from her husband, and she pretends that everything is perfect. A photo of Jacob, his smile on the playground, and a photo of Tom, where he looked tired after work, were attached to the post. I read the comments, feeling like the ground was falling out from under my feet. What a nose the child has, not like the father. She's a blogger, of course she's lying. I wanted to scream. I wanted to write a post, explain that it was a lie, that Jacob was Tom's son, that I had never cheated. But then I looked at the style of the message, short phrases, sarcastic emojis, and recognized it. It was Melissa's style, the same as in her old tweets, in her family chat messages. Even if she didn't write it herself, she incited someone. She always knew how to hold a microphone, how to make everyone listen. Tom began to move away. He came home later, was silent at dinner, checked his phone when he thought I couldn't see. I tried to talk to him, to explain, to beg. "Tom, you know that's a lie," I said one day, standing in the kitchen while Jacob was sleeping. He looked at me, his eyes were tired, but there was a shadow of doubt in them. "I do not know who to believe," he replied softly. And it was worse than shouting, worse than reproaches. I felt like my family, my life, everything we'd built since college was crumbling because of one phrase Melissa uttered. I couldn't sleep at night, staring at the ceiling and thinking, how could she? Why does she want to destroy me? I remembered her look at the wedding when she hugged me, but her smile was strained. I remembered how she didn't come to Jacob's birth, writing that she was sick, even though her stories at the cocktail bar were on Instagram. Something inside me clicked then, but I waved it away. And now that click has become an explosion. Rage grew in me like fire. Melissa wasn't just gossiping. She was destroying my family, my reputation, my heart. She did it publicly, knowing that I was a blogger, that my every move was under the microscope. She expected me to keep quiet, to justify myself, to hide. But I decided that I would not let her win. I will not write long posts. I will not cry in private messages. I'll do it in a way she didn't expect, publicly, openly, without fear. I ordered a paternity test. Not for Tom. He said he believed me, even though his silence said something else. The test was for the public, for those who savored gossip, for those who looked at my son and saw a lie in him. And I went on. I've scheduled a live broadcast. Preparing for the stream was like preparing for a fight. I was sitting in front of the mirror applying makeup, but my hands were shaking. I didn't want to look weak. I didn't want the audience to see tears. I left Jacob with my mom, who sighed when I said I was going to stream. "Ashley, don't make it worse," she said, but I just shook my head. Tom agreed to be there, even though his eyes were full of doubts. "Are you sure? What is it?" he asked, standing in the doorway. "And you?" I replied, and he fell silent. I chose a black dress, simple, without glitter, as if I was going not to the broadcast, but to the court. Deep down, I knew that this was the trial, not only for Melissa, but also for me, for Tom, and for our family. The broadcast started at 8 in the evening. 5,000 viewers joined in the first few minutes, their comments flying like bullets. "Ashley, you are the queen. What kind of drama? Where is the truth?" I sat in front of the camera, as in a podcast, with a straight back and an icy calm that was hidden behind the hurricane raging inside. Tom was sitting next to him. His hands were clenched into fists, but he was looking at the camera as if he was ready to accept any verdict. In front of us was a sealed envelope with the results of a DNA test, white as a verdict. I took it, my fingers were cold, and said, "Do you want to know the truth? Okay, let's get to know her together." I opened the envelope, feeling my heart beating in my throat, and read aloud. "The probability of paternity is 99.999%. Tom is a father." The comments exploded. "This is the queen. The sister is scum. What about the husband? Did he apologize at all?" I looked at Tom, and for the first time in weeks, I saw tears in his eyes. He took my hand, squeezed it, and I felt something inside me crack. Not from pain, but from relief. I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I looked into the camera and said, quietly but firmly, "Melissa, you've destroyed trust. Not to me, to myself." My words hung in the air like a sentence, and I knew she would hear them. An hour after the broadcast, Mom called. Her voice trembled with anger. "Ashley, you've disgraced the family. Why did you make a fool of Melissa?" I gripped the phone so tightly that my fingers turned white. "Mom, she was lying. She wanted to destroy my family." Mom sighed. "She's just jealous. You know?" I hung up before I could finish listening. Dad didn't call, but he sent me a smiley face with a sparkle, and I smiled for the first time that day. My brother Jack wrote, "Finally, someone slammed on the table. I'm proud." I was flipping through messages from subscribers, their words. "We've always believed you. You're a force." They were like a bomb, but they couldn't numb the pain. Melissa also wrote, her message came in the messenger. "Why did you make a circus out of this? What would Mom say?" I didn't answer. She started this performance. I just turned on the light. Melissa disappeared after the broadcast. She deleted her social networks, stopped answering calls, even to her mother. I found out from my cousin Lisa that Melissa tried to flirt with Tom before our wedding, but he turned her down by choosing me. "She hasn't forgiven you for that," Lisa said, and everything fell into place. Melissa wasn't just jealous of my happiness. She wanted to take it away because she couldn't have hers. Her marriage was falling apart. Her dreams of having a child were being shattered, and she decided that I had to pay for her pain. But I didn't pay. I chose the truth, and the truth was louder than her lies. Now I'm sitting on the floor with Jacob, building a tower of cubes with him, and listening to him laugh. Tom brings me coffee, his hand touches my shoulder, and I know we're going to start over. Mom calls, asks to forgive Melissa, but I'm not ready. Family is not just blood. This is trust. It's a choice of who to keep around. And I chose. I'm not going to let you spit in my face and call it love anymore. The truth is silent loudly, and I have learned to listen to it.